So, I've been thinking since the other day after the massacre in South Carolina, nine black African American people were shot and killed by a white male, and now it's all over the place. It's national news. It's a big tragedy. Everybody is talking about it. Again, we have a race issue. And then I started wondering and thinking to myself, when are we as a country, as a people, don't look at yourself as a color. Look at yourself as a race of people. We like to consider ourselves a race of people, Americans, or whatever you want to, how you ever want to look at it, Americans, US, whatever. And I just kind of try to understand us as a people. We try to consider ourselves so great. We're supposed to be the shining star in the world. Everything has to be US first. First military, first in commerce, first in anything you can think of. We're supposed to be so much better than every other country. There's not a person in this, maybe a handful of people, if you really want to count them all, that actually believe that we are not great. I wouldn't even say good. Just because we have some freedoms doesn't make your country great. Doesn't make your country, oh, we don't do certain things that some other underdeveloped countries or whatever do. When it comes to the developed countries, Germany, well, let's say Europe, Japan, Australia, Canada, if you look at these countries, we have more issues than they ever would have at this stage of life. 2015. The issues that we are fighting right now, that are national headlines right now today, don't occur in a lot of other countries. We don't see this happening in these other countries. And I believe the reason why is they are united. Somehow or another, over the past half a century or a century, most of these other countries have jumped over a lot of the hurdles that we just can't get over, or we just refuse to get over. I believe we are refusing as a people to jump over these hurdles. And the reason why is, from my idea, is that we're just too stubborn of a race of people to do so. We are overprivileged minded. We believe everything's supposed to come our way without work, without fighting for it, without actually having to put in anything for it. We should just have it. Everything's supposed to be just handed to us. That's one issue we have. The other issue we have is we're very blind and ignorant. Why would we have the issues we had today if we weren't? We're just in this fairy tale world in our minds that there are no issues in this country. We look at other things to make ourselves feel like we're better. ISIS, Al Qaeda, all these other things that we're fighting right now in our biggest agenda is fighting these so-called terrorists. We are terrorists. Why do I say that? Because we destroy more of ourselves in this country on our own than any other country could do to us. We may have one or two major events in a lifetime. Major events meaning massive loss of life in any aspect, or attempted. You can't even use attempted. Attempted okay, they attempted. I mean, we haven't had, other than 9/11 and certain things around the world, in our own country, we only had, or have had, only a handful of things that happened in our whole existence as a country. But those things are the number one forefront of what we're worried about, what is shocking. On the news every single day, you hear this, ISIS supporter, ISIS sympathizer. And they show you these video footages of these men in hoods, these Islamic terrorists. But they don't show you what happens in our own soil, on our own soil, is more scary to me than any ISIS anything, or any Al-Qaeda militant Islamic extremists. Why? Because we are destroying ourselves every single day here in droves. We have massacre after massacre after massacre, and these are not Islamic terrorists. These are US born. Most of them are Christian. We had Sandy Hook. We had Virginia Tech. We had the recent church massacre. We had Columbine. And so many things. We had the grocery supermarket in New Jersey massacre. This former military guy a few years back killed, I can't remember exactly the number, but it was, I think, somewhere up to about 7 to 8 people, if don't quote me, but it was a lot of people that he killed and injured, and then killed himself. We have military personnel killing their own people. I mean, this doesn't make any sense to me why we have all these things. It's a great tragedy, and we can't even get to that topic before we find something else to look at and say that it's worse than what we're doing to ourselves. It just baffles me on what are we trying to prove in our lives? What are we trying to prove as a country? Every other country is looking at us not to see if we are a leader, to see how stupid we are. They're watching us destroy ourselves on our own soil and wonder why we consider ourselves so much better than them when we have these humongous tragedies at least 2 or 3 times a year. We have one major one at least every year now. I even remember now the guy that was arrested in the theater massacre back when the Black Knight Rises came out. I mean, this is amazing. It's absolutely amazing how many things happen and how many reasons why they happen. But the whole thing is, we don't care about what's going on our own soil. The thing that just happened in that church was not a massacre. It was an act of terrorism. Nobody wants to consider it that right now, because it's this guy, 21 years of age, is more or less a Christian. And they're not going to say that if this guy was an Islamic guy, regardless of if it's because he wanted to kill in a holy way, saying in that same, it would still be considered a freaking terrorist act. Why aren't we calling this a terrorist act? This guy intended to and did incite mass hysteria. That's one ledge of being an act of terrorism by itself. He killed several people, 9, injured more. That's one. It so far there's 2, and from what we're hearing, he planned this. So he premeditatively started this in his mind months ago, from what they're saying, from sources. So if that's not terrorism, what the hell is now? Do you have to have a religious background to be a terrorist? Islamic background? And I'm not saying that this is basically a religious thing. I'm just wondering, why aren't we considering it what the hell it is? Terrorism. Why aren't we combating any type of terrorism the same way we combat terrorism across seas? Why aren't we fighting for it on our own soil against our own people that are doing it right now or have done it right now? It just doesn't make any sense that we are so far ahead in technology right now, but we still are so far behind everything else. We are not doing the right job right now. We're failing. And what makes me upset is that we are sitting around. We all did this to ourselves. Why I say that? Because the more you incite hysteria, the more you have hysteria. The more fuel you add to a fire, the more fire you get, right? Hysteria and panic is always going to be fueled by more hysteria and more panic. And our news for the past 2 years and most people out in the streets talking about it is in the news every day. It's black and white. It's white versus black, or black versus white, or police versus everything. And this is what's been in the news for years. So the more we add fuel that this is a black and white thing, the more situations are going to arise where people are just going to start getting fed up, and they're going to just start doing what the hell they're doing. They're going to start getting to the point where they just don't fear the consequences of what of their actions. And now we have another massacre. Guess what? There will be another one, and will be another one. So don't be shocked when you notice, when another one happens. More loss of life, more hysteria, more panic, more anger. More anger contributes to more acts of the same. More rioting. I don't care if you're white or black, Spanish, Hispanic, I don't care where the hell you from. This is just going to keep on happening as much as the moon goes around our planet. We're just going to keep on coming around this thing every so often. More life, more confusion, and more hysteria, and more everything. And I wonder, when are we going to learn and not just put our foot down? When are we going to just say, you know what, this is it? There is no love out there right now. It takes a tragedy for people to come together to hold hands. I'm watching these footages from down south now, and there's people literally holding hands, black, white, different religions, Christian, Baptist, Jewish, Hasidic, or whatever, Islamic. Everybody is together now. We need that every freaking day. We need that every single day. You got to stop teaching you got to teach your children it, and their children got to be taught it, and they got to keep on going. We can't just sit back and not do anything. Our civil rights, our leaders, everybody has to continuously extend the hand over. And one thing we got to stop thinking is that we're not different people. We're one in a country. All this different race thing is just, you already putting a line in the sand. Because once you start using black, which is not a race, African American people, stop calling yourselves black. That was a racial thing for over 400 and some odd years. Because they looked at our skin and said, you know what, you're black. We're not Negro. Negro is Spanish for black. Okay? Negro is Spanish for black. So we are African American. If you want to consider yourself, yeah, we're all mixed. I'm mixed. I'm African American. I'm mixed with several different other races, Dominican. I have some other stuff in me. But if you want to look at it, we got to stop putting ourselves in one particular category. We're not black. We're not white. We're not just, yeah, okay, that's where your roots are. But as a country, we are a country, a people. We're supposed to be one as a country, not several hundred. Yeah, you want to say that in the end, oh yeah, I'm this, and yeah, we are a bunch of races that mix together to make one. That's every country now. There is almost no country that's not mixed and diverse. Yeah, maybe we are the most because we're new. Now we're the newest country, okay? Remember that. We're one of the newest countries out there. Our history don't go back more than 700 years. We're just making ourselves to where we are. So yeah, we may be a melting pot, but every other country is. Britain, Germany, African countries, we are all mixed right now. We got to stop thinking of ourselves as just a bunch of different races, and this is my race and that's your race, and we have to stop that, because you're already starting the issue. Once we get over that hurdle and say, okay, we're not just black, white, Asian, whatever, we are a country. We are a country. A country is not just a bunch of people. It's a unity. And that's what we have to remember. We are a unity. We have to stop thinking rich, poor, race. Because once you start out with race and color, and you already lost the freaking battle. Now you're going to have people, oh, I'm black, I'm white. They're different than I am. I'm privileged, they're not. Oh, I've been pushed down, they weren't. Once you start mixing that batter and saying, you know what? Yeah, we were. Now we are this. We have to work on a new foundation. Once we start that, then maybe we'll get somewhere. But right now, there is none of that. If it is, it's very, very, very minute. And that's our problem. And what we need to do is, we got to freaking start thinking that we are not going nowhere. We're turning our wheels in the freaking sand. We're stuck in ice. We are in 2015 right now, and we still have racial wars. Does that make any sense to anyone? Why do we have racial wars? We shouldn't have that. We should not, just like Martin Luther King, you have to look at that person's mind, judgment of his character, not, oh, black and white. That was over, what, 40 years ago? If I'm right, over 45 years ago, and we still haven't gotten anywhere. The whole point is to move forward, and we're stuck in the 50s, 60s, and early 70s. We haven't gotten anywhere. We haven't moved, and that's a shame. So don't be shocked by this kind of issue. Our mentality is all mixed up, all messed up. We're worrying about everything else, but we're not worried about what is right in the front of us. The floor you're walking on is not even paved right, and we're worrying about other shit. We're worrying about other countries and how to fix them. And, oh, they're an issue, so we got to spend billions of dollars on them. But, oh, wait, hello, people. We have issues. We need to work on us. That's what, food for thought. That's what we need to understand. And once we understand that we need to start fixing our own house, everything in our house, then maybe we'll start to make ourselves better to help other people in other countries.